person has a severe disability and they're not expected to be able to work due to their condition, you know, it's important that all the doctors are on the same page. But that doesn't mean that it's going to make their case any stronger for getting SSI.
Okay.
So,
So we're going to apply. We'll eventually get there. And I just need to apologize because Elizabeth had a comment and I forgot to.
And I'm just thinking, this is what Michelle Ross tells you, and it's really important. A lot of people here might not get SSI. A lot of people here might have kids that are on the spectrum. And a lot of times when they're not going to get a service, they say, I'm going to forget it, there's no point in applying. But this is what I'm speaking, as Michelle tells you. You need to get on the DDA list, right, Deborah? Because if you turn 18 and you never got a service, let's say, and you turn, let's go say, God forbid, both your parents died or you need services, there are no records that you need to be in the system. You need to get service. Is that true?
You need to be in the DD system. Well, we need documentation of the disability prior to the age of 18.
Right, that's what I said. So I'm saying, if you think there's no point in getting service because you can provide for your child, and something happens, and your child truly has a disability that was never put into the system, it's going to be awfully hard to get that child service.
Yeah, and if you
And I learned that from Michelle, and
you do apply, if you don't need services right away, it's okay, because we'll put you onto a non-paid services
Right.
caseload, and you're basically just stay there until you request the services.
right, a lot of people do not want to get, they never get that far, and then they are amazed that there's nothing, and they're left out in the cold. Debbie will help you, she's wonderful, I know. And I gotta go, but that was a really important piece coming from
Thanks,
your wife.
Elizabeth. The DD thing really is important, and I know a lot of parents don't want to go into it because it is a lot of hassle, and I mean, it isn't the most pleasant thing. I've actually got up and left out of the meetings because I got bored. Yeah. But you need to do it. It's just one of those things you're going to do if you're in the process, and I can't emphasize that enough.
In the process of what?
If you are in the special needs world, and this is where you're going to end up, now maybe for Sue it's not as important, because Sue is not going to need those supports, and she's probably not even eligible for the supports.
So that was a question I had, is
Yeah.
where on the spectrum does your services hit the sweet spot?
Well, it's changing, so this summer, because the DSM-5 came out, so the definition is changed. So at this point, right now, it's kind of the pure autism diagnosis.
So not Asperger's.
Right, Asperger's does not qualify at this time, and and then, you can always get in touch with us down the road and after July, and we'll see. I haven't seen the new eligibility criteria yet for DSM-5.
I'm sorry, Greg. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt you.
yeah.
Anything else you want to add on Social Security piece before we go to guardianship?
No, but I do want to say that, you know, CWDR can also help fill out and help families or an individual navigate other programs, you know, because you talk about how people just don't want to go through the hassle of filling out the paperwork. We can help people apply for DDA services, ESHS, Medicaid, you know, we can sit down with the parents or the individual and help them fill out that paperwork. So they don't have to do it alone. We've been doing it for a long time, and so we're more than happy to.
Yeah, you know, I think actually almost everyone at this table helps people find other resources and fill out forms and refers them, and parent to parent. I mean, everybody is trying to help people get through this. And if you will just ask for help, it is there. But asking for help can be hard.
And all our services are free, so.
So let's talk about guardianship.
Okay.
So as we are approaching 18, what do we have to do? What does guardianship entail?
Well, actually, if somebody is seriously wanting to pursue guardianship, then
So this is Johnny's parents.
right,
Because Johnny's not going to. I mean, Johnny,
right.
that's just not in the cards.
Right. You know, I would strongly, if that's what they want and they feel like that's what's going to be best for their child, then they need to contact a lawyer to get that going.
And I think Johnny's parents don't feel they have a choice. I mean, this isn't like a judgment call. I mean, he's not going to make it on his own,
Right.
not even close. So we understand that Johnny is really involved. So he's nonverbal. He can have a job, but it's going to take one-on-one supports all the time, and he's not going to get much of that. We know that. We think probably he's going to live at home, right? Because we don't know where else Johnny's going to go, at least to begin with. So, at least from his parents' standpoint, I don't think they feel like there's even a question that you can do anything other than guardianship.
But I think what she's trying to clarify is that guardianship is a legal process. It is, to do it right, you do have to go see a lawyer, and then you pay them lots and lots of money, and they set up, do all the paperwork, and you show up to the court day, the day they're there, you stand before the judge, and you're done. And the judge says if your child is going to be granted guardianship or not. So because they take it very seriously, it is a serious thing.
Right.
When you take someone's rights away to be an adult in our country,
Yeah.
they do not even have the right to vote. The simple vote yesterday, if you have guardianship, they do not have that
Depends on
vote.
the kind of guardianship there are.
Right, well, that's what
Like,
I believe.
Right, right.
different
Yeah.
guardianships.
There's a guardianship, so you can also, specify maybe certain rights
Yeah.
that that individual should be able to.
It's a spectrum, and so you can be anywhere on the spectrum.
Power of attorney to
Right.
To
To
full
full
guardianship.
guardianship.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. So we're going to end up with a lawyer. We got to go before a judge, and the judge's going to tell us whether we can do this or not.
Right, and they usually appoint a guardian advisor to,
Right. Right.
And that's really an important piece of the process.
Right.
So,
And it's very interesting from a parent standpoint,
right,
because we're just trying to do the right thing. And this isn't like, there's lots of different pieces of this, but this is what we're doing right now. And it's very interesting to me to think to go before a judge to ask for this. It's just really is interesting. It's not like something we want to do. It's a necessity. And then we get to go back every 3 years or 4 years and continue the process indefinitely.
It is awkward as parents.
It just seems weird. Now, I understand that if we're here or if we're sued, that's a totally different subject. But it's just interesting because it's like it's not ever going to be an option. Because for some individuals, that's the way it is.
What's interesting with Sue, though, Sue might be very high functioning, but have some money issues. She can't discern money,
Right.
how it's paid, or she has trouble, making legal decisions or medical decisions. So she still might need some type of guardianship just to cover that one area where she has a deficit.
And again, I think that almost makes it harder because Sue may not feel that way. And Sue can represent herself fairly well, where John, it's going to be pretty self-evident. It's pretty cut and dry. Very interesting. And, yeah.
What happens to John if you don't get guardianship? Or if something happens to you?
I hope you have goodwill.
Living
That's
will.
hard.
Well, and like with the financial piece, if they're getting, SSI, then there would be, and Social Security might require that they have a representative payee. And that's an alternative.
So that's a legal thing that Social Security, but really nothing happens to John, right? The police don't come and get him and say he can't live in the house.
No.
The issue comes when you bump into like doing a checking account or dealing with money because you have no legal right to interact with his funds. If it were to be medical issues, you have no legal say there whatsoever. So if he wanted to refuse treatment, well, in fact, no matter what, if they refuse treatment, the doctor will never force someone to do something. And that's an issue for John because John has no idea. He's not ever going to ask for help. He's always going to push and pull IDs out and get up and run around and try to get out. And that puts the medical profession in an interesting situation.
I think that's the predicament of all parents that have children with disabilities. is that it forces you as a parent to plan your demise. It really does. Just like transition, if you don't plan for this, nothing's going to happen. If you don't plan for the day that you're out of your child's life, your child is going to be very unhappy. Your child's not going to have the life that you want them to be safe and happy and secure. So in a way, when you get blessed with a child with a disability, it forces you, my voice is going to go, it forces you to do that planning that is so much easier to put on the back burner. You know, planning the guardian, planning the living trust, planning the will, going to the lawyer. You know, your lawyer bills are going to be a lot when you have a child with a disability because you want to protect that child.
And the process requires it.
Yeah,
Right.
it is.
We've had a couple of really sad cases in the last 2 years where an elderly parent had not provided adequately for their child, and a sibling inherited the child, the adult child, and that became a real burden for the family member that was not prepared for that. Mom always took care of that. Mom always did the financial. Mom always did the appointments, and the siblings were completely removed from that. And now they're mom. They're doing it, and it's been very difficult.
Well, I think for John and his siblings, that's something they're thinking about right now.
They're-
And they're even thinking
they
about
know.
that in their spouses. When I go to marry someone, I've got to be thinking this, and when they go to get a job after college, where am I going to live? If I live in Washington DC, I'll never see my brother again. Because he can't travel on an airplane, and I'll never see mom and dad except separately, and for brief periods of time, because they can't travel together. It's a
Clear
it impacts.
communication will help the transition process become very clear and smooth. But you have to be willing to communicate your deepest fears and your deepest desires and to keep at it. You know, when your child's 18, you know, you still have your IEP meeting. Are you meeting with all the people that you need to meet? Does the teacher, have they readjusted the transition goals so that your child keeps making gains? You know, the IEP will continue every year until your child is 21. Once they're 18 though, you're going to see, well, usually about 15, 16, if your child's definitely on more of a John, you're going to see less of an academic goal base. You might have functional academics, but you're going to have more of vocational goal setting. And that's something that the family and the school will talk about.
Gretchen, are we good with guardianship at this point? So we've figured out what level we need, whether it's going to be power of attorney. We're going to go before a judge. We're going to get it approved. And then we're on to the next step. Okay?
Right.
Okay?
And just a little side note though, it doesn't have to do with SSI or guardianship, but you know, you're talking about, well, what if, you know, they're on the higher functioning end of the spectrum and they don't want to have, you know, mom and dad interfering with their decision making and stuff, you know. I mean, our agency provides, you know, independent living services so that if, for instance, you know, an adult child wants to, you know, do things, wants to learn how to do various independent living skills such as budgeting or, you know, trying to find housing or even just navigating through government systems without mom and dad, we can help with that. So we do a lot more than just social security. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I want to ask a question about reasonable accommodation. Is there anywhere that you can get a legal guideline on what a vocational training center possibly would be? Because we've been getting turned down by Job Corps as a future idea because of the need for assistance and supervision, organize assignments, and be where he needs to be and stuff like that. But we offer to provide the assistance, and we're turned down and told in writing that it's not a reasonable accommodation.
I felt like, because someone's born with something we weren't, our self-regulation skills, why should they miss out on the opportunity? Somewhere I felt, there's got to be somewhere that could tell us, is there a legal basis? When you have someone that can learn, but there is aspects of their ability to function alone that need strong assistance.
Can I ask some questions to clarify? So you're talking about you're looking to get a job position?
No,
Or
a
you're in the
vocational training
schools?
program.
Pardon?
A vocational training program?
Okay, so in the public schools,
No, it's a vocational training program.
job
Corps.
corps. Okay, so
That's what I caught.
Yeah,
So-
two of
I'll
them
let-
turned us
yeah.
down. Well, we met people, we went and visited, brought, unique circumstances forward, and the turndowns were immediate from one place, and the second in time, the turndown came in writing. But I feel like if they can learn, even if they have to be employed supervised, they would love the opportunity to learn. And I felt it was kind of bad that they're excluded from much more than people understand. And in our journey, we have learned the hard way how very little is actually out there, vocational experiences for them. So we were willing to have somebody attend to help them. And that wasn't considered a reasonable accommodation.
So Job Corps has a set of criteria that they use for determining the eligibility for their program. So if that eligibility is not met, then that's a reason for dismissal. If you need to look for advice, the Americans with Disabilities Act is very, very specific, and you can read through that, and it takes time, your time. But if you need legal advice and you are lower income, then you can call the CLEAR hotline and get an appointment and actually talk with a legal aid who can give you some ideas.
Clear or
CLEAR, C-L-E-A-R, and it's listed in the phone book, or you can Google it or whatever. You have
Gretchen,
to-
and you can help with that, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I would also recommend, to file a type of discrimination complaint with the Washington State Human Rights Commission, and we could also help you with that too.
So really, Gretchen, did you get one of our sheets that has contact
In the back,
information?
in the
Yeah, they're in the
right.
back, so grab it. And Gretchen is with Central Washington Disability Resources. She's probably the best person to follow back up.
Yeah, we're like doing the, in the planning here.
Thanks, Mary.
The planning and the thinking of
Sure.
what can be done. And in the process, it's a wake-up call for what you come into encounter when you're, I was just blown away. I just couldn't believe the shift around that we get, families get, the individual gets.
Were you given any appeal rights?
It was just flat out told me, and it was said to me so quickly. It didn't sound negotiable.
So was it a verbal denial or a written
One was
denial?
verbal, one was in writing.
Okay.
So
Maddie, you have something?
my question would be, if you were making accommodations and you had basically an individual care provider or somebody to work with your son or your family member to work with them, was it that they didn't feel that that individual was qualified to do that job?
I'll
or
tell you
that-
the specific wording of the letter.
Okay.